Fire Rating System Causing Confusion for Community by SANDI MILLER. On October 16, families in Warrandyte received a surprise announcement from the Department of Education, DOE, that despite the CFA forecast of a high fire danger rating for the Central District, local students would be relocating schools in Templestowe as the rating for the Manningham and Nillumbik local government areas was forecast to be extreme. What followed was, to say the least, much confusion for parents, local sporting clubs and other education providers. So how did we get here? It has been 16 years since Black Saturday, when 173 people lost their lives in devastating bushfires across Victoria, and almost 6 years since the catastrophic Black Summer bushfires, which killed 33 people and destroyed 3,000 homes. Each Australian state and territory has been using its own version of the MacArthur Forest Fire Danger Index, FFDI, and localised rating systems, for example, low moderate, high, very high, severe, extreme, catastrophic, code red. The Royal Commissions, which followed each of these disasters, called for consistent messaging that was easy for the community to understand and follow. This resulted in the nationally consistent Australian Fire Danger Rating System, AFDRS. The AFDRS is divided into categories that indicate the level of fire risk. Moderate, green, 12 to 23. Plan and prepare. Most fires can be controlled. High, yellow, 24 to 49. Prepare to act. Fires can be dangerous. Extreme, orange, 50 to 99. Take action now to protect your life and property. Check your bushfire plan and that your property is fire ready. If a fire starts, take immediate action. If you and your property are not prepared to the highest level, go to a safer location well before the fire impacts. Reconsider travel through bushfire risk areas. Leaving bushfire risk areas early in the day is your safest option. Catastrophic, red, 100 plus. For your survival, leave bushfire risk areas. If a fire starts and takes hold, lives are likely to be lost. And while this system is somewhat easier to follow, it is also much less granular, which is causing problems of its own. The general public use the fire danger ratings as a trigger to enact their fire plans. Under the old system, there were narrower definitions for each level of rating. Low to moderate, 0 to 11. High, 12 to 24. Very high, 25 to 49. Severe, 50 to 74. Extreme, 75 to 99. And code red, 100 plus, with the leave early advice generally reserved for days over a Fire Behaviour Index, FBI, of 75. The removal of the very high and severe levels now sees extreme fire ratings kick in when the fire rating reaches 51 on the FBI, prompting people to enact their bushfire plan on days which were historically considered severe. Those wishing to use FBI to assess the fire risk are finding it increasingly difficult to readily access the information. Previously, this information was available on the Bureau of Meteorology, BOM, website under Forecasts. Now the numerical data is accessed through Resources, Learn and Explore, Fire Weather Knowledge Centre, Fire Weather Services, Forecast Fire Behaviour Index and Fire Danger Ratings, Victoria Fire Danger Ratings. Without easy access to the data, this can result in more frequent business closures and residents leaving early. Joja Lately, CFA Fire Risk Research and Community Preparedness Change and Communications Lead, told the Diary that AFDRS is presented as nationally consistent across all states and territories.
In Victoria, we are continually assessing and analysing how fire behaviour is calculated and determined, thanks to the improved scientific data available to us post-AFDRS implementation.
The CFA issues advice for FDRs based on data from the BOM website, which is calculated for the large area fire districts, which each span thousands of square kilometres. Warrandyte is in the Central District, which encompasses diverse environments, including farming areas, coastal communities and metropolitan suburbs. Separate system for schools. The DOE is not using the fire district ratings. Instead, it determines its bushfire triggers based on data provided to it by the BOM at a municipal level. This municipal level data is not available to the public. In Victoria, schools, kindergartens and childcare facilities assessed to be at the highest risk of bushfire are placed on the Education Department's Bushfire at Risk Register, BAR. This register includes all schools, kindergartens and childcare facilities in Warrandyte, North Warrandyte, Kangaroo Ground, Research, Park Orchards and Wonga Park. The department says inclusion on the BAR has triggers for action including Category 1 to 2, preemptive relocation, learning from home or closure action plans for schools and co-located services at the highest risk due to a forecast elevated FDR in their local government area. Category 3, preemptive closure for schools and early childhood services on all days forecasted by the Bureau of Meteorology to be catastrophic FDR in their fire weather district. Independent schools, even if they are on the BAR, are advised about fire ratings, but as far as the diary can ascertain, they are not compelled to follow the directions of the DOE. Warrandyte Primary School and Andersons Creek Primary School, along with their associated out-of-school hours care programs, are both Category 1 risk and relocate students to schools in Templestowe on extreme fire-rated days. And Warrandyte High School at Category 2 relocates classes to Templestowe College. Community facilities on school property are also closed, meaning sports clubs such as Warrandyte Basketball Club have to cancel training or relocate to alternative facilities, if available, often at short notice. However, Yarrawarra Preschool is in Category 3 and will only close on catastrophic days. Warrandyte Kindergarten and Warrandyte Preschool and Childcare are also both in Category 2, which has them close or relocated in line with their pre-approved policy. Neither facility closed on October 16. Warrandyte Kinder President Natasha de Groot said the committee is currently in the process of updating its bushfire policy.
However, we close on extreme days rated by the BOM.
A source from Warrandyte Preschool and Childcare told the diary that they only received advice, rather than a direction, from the DOE's Early Childhood Services about the municipal extreme rating at 8:30 a.m. on the day, by which time they had already had children in care, so it was too late to take any action. So this gave us the scenario on October 16, where the Central District was at high level and the Manningham and Nillumbik municipalities were at extreme level. This meant that kindergartens, childcare, council facilities, businesses, parks and shops continued as business as usual, while the state primary schools and high school were evacuated and closed. Parents have told the diary that only approximately half of the students attended school that day, and teachers did not run the regular curriculum, and said their children were bored and not keen to do it again. One teacher told the diary that the procedure had only been in place for a short time and they are
getting better at it,
with some of the younger students seeing it as an adventure. A spokesperson from the DOE said the department's approach to extreme weather days has been developed with and is approved and supported by the emergency management authorities.
Using local government fire danger ratings set by the Bureau of Meteorology to determine the approach taken on extreme weather days ensures a more accurate assessment of local conditions and risks. Families are always encouraged to implement their own bushfire survival plan, including decisions on school attendance.
Which is all very well for those who have access to the municipal fire data, but the BOM does not release this data to the public to make the same informed decision that the DOE makes. BOM have previously told the diary they have no plans to make the data publicly available and did not respond to our recent inquiries. Ms. Gelately said CFA encourages the community to use district fire danger ratings as a trigger to enact their individual bushfire plan. When an extreme rating is issued, the community is encouraged to take action to protect themselves. This includes enacting their plan, monitoring conditions, and reconsidering travel through bushfire risk areas on these days. Captain of Warrandyte CFA, Will Hodgson, said the Department of Education is moving children out of these locations into a safer environment, where the department is comfortable with the safety of students.
The principals act on the directive of the DOE.
Captain Hodgson said it is then up to families to determine how the school closure or otherwise is going to fit in with their personal fire plan.
It's going to be also a personal choice on how you behave. Just because the education department makes a call, you don't wait for an organisation to tell you when you should or shouldn't enact your own plan and make sure it's safe for you. At that trigger point, are you going to a shopping centre or going to a friend's home in metropolitan Melbourne? At 3:30 p.m, are you picking your kids up and bringing them back to Warrandyte if that was part of your original plan? As a parent, I can tell you that with kids who go to local primary schools, we also lose before school care and after school care. And you've got to drive 20 minutes to drop your kids off, and you've got to drive 20 minutes to pick them up. You get them back at 3:30 p.m. on a fire risk day. Where are you going? Are you driving back into risky Warrandyte? That could be going through a wind change.
Captain Hodgson said what made Warrandyte different to the rest of the region was the diversity of the Central District, which starts in Ballarat in the northwest and runs all the way to Phillip Island. Much of the district has grass as the main fuel type. He said the community needs to understand that Warrandyte is surrounded by forest, not grassland.
The grass is really green. The forest fuels are dry, and it has been dry since August, and it is at the same level it was just prior to Christmas last year. We are at similar levels of dryness that we saw in the lead-up to Ash Wednesday in 1983. So on October 16, the vegetation was dry enough for a fire to take hold, and the wind speed would have fanned that fire.
Have your say in the CFA Fire District Review. CFA are currently reviewing the size of the fire districts and considering increasing the number of districts, which they hope will reduce the number of incidents of municipal district mismatches.
It is now timely to review the 9 fire weather districts to consider if the current format is providing good, useful fire rating information to the community, industry and fire agencies. The key aim will be to ensure that fire weather districts accurately reflect weather and climate conditions in Victoria now and into the future,
said CFA Deputy Chief Officer Alan Slajepsevic. Ms. Gelately said the CFA is specifically looking at Warrandyte to understand how communities gather and use information, such as fire danger ratings, to support their assessment of risk and how these factors inform the formation of their own bushfire plans.
The Fire Weather District Review is being conducted to ensure that advances in gridded weather predictions and the impact of climate changes to weather patterns are all used in ways that ensure that information is tailored to community, industry and fire agency needs and expectations. Ultimately, we hope to alleviate these perceptions of ratings causing unnecessary closures and cancellations on days where the weather does not match the risk forecasted,
she said. Ms. Gelately said Warrandyte was chosen as a case study location because the community has a varied demographic and environmental considerations.
We want to capture the changing demographics of the wider Warrandyte community by speaking with both long-time residents and newcomers to the area, those who work in the area, those that commute to the city, and those who visit the natural surroundings on the weekends. The physical environment of Warrandyte presents challenges from a fire perspective with its terrain, forested areas and location, which are all important considerations when discussing risk and bushfire planning. We are hoping to find participants for the research, particularly those who are new to the area, those who are over 65 years of age, or local business owners.
Participants can register to participate in the research by visiting cfa.vic.gov.au/fire rating research. This article was read by Rebecca Rose,
Sandy Miller.
James Poyner.
Adrian Rice.
Hazel Rice.